Okay, after planning board, whatever the date is today, 17th?
17th.
Golly. Take a minute to read the minutes and then I'll entertain a motion. Please.
Did you see that draft plan?
No.
In the folder. Couple of things in your folder.
No, that's okay. Okay.
Because you've got some kind of report that's due.
Does anybody else have anything?
Oh, just check.
Okay. We always have the secretary do this.
I meant to print off last year's to see what it looks like, and I forgot to. But I know.
Oh, we got time. And if it's late.
All right, I'll move to accept these minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any changes or corrections? All those in favor, aye? All those opposed, nay? Done deal. All right then. New business. Best possible locations. 3. Or holy smokes.
We got one set of photos.
Place walls. Really? DEP lets them do this?
Yeah.
Is this with the same job?
Yep, that's behind it, looking up at the hill. One 13th Street.
13th. That's over on Square or Mouse?
Mouse.
Okay.
Yeah, behind the.
Oh, 13th. Yeah. And what's their plan?
Currently it is 50 feet, it'll be 60 when it's done, and they're moving it back into the hill.
Oh, wait, they're moving the house. I thought you said they were fixing this wall.
They're doing the wall too.
But they're,
Doing the wall, demoing the house, building a new house, replacing the walls.
Oh, I got you. It's all brand spanking new. New septic or no?
Yep, that might be the way. Which is required.
Pardon me? It probably is. Although I don't know about this part.
It's pretty wide.
Gonna be 60. And, all right, so this picture is the road side of the house?
Behind the house looking up, and that's their garage up on the road.
Oh.
Those steep lots.
This one's got the roadside.
This is to show us why they couldn't go back further, is that it?
Correct.
Did you see this thing?
Yeah.
These are the 3 bedrooms I could fit. Well, they got a fair ways to the road there, don't they?
Correct. It's a steep bank right behind the house. They might have the photos for that. Or,
Too much digging away to move it back further.
that's the old assessing card there.
Yeah. Frank Lloyd Wright on there.
Freddie.
Look different from the other picture. Sure, it's the same place.
Yeah, it is. They're usually shocked. Those assessing cards came from the 80s before the 30% rule. That's how we kind of track the additions and violations.
You guys seen this?
No.
It looks like 3 different houses from us.
It's not for that.
It does.
I love it.
You see, this one's great. Well, so what's Kenny's recommendation?
That there is, I think
Back in the day.
Proposed plan is,
yeah.
they couldn't go up to the top of the hill behind the house.
There is a flat area up there, but between the garage and the street setback, it brings you to the,
All right, all right.
What's happening with the
Oh, is this a
septic?
picture of the garage maybe?
It's going back
that's right
about
behind it,
10
yeah.
more
Oh,
feet.
okay.
It is 50 now, it's
Yeah,
going to be
now we're
60.
talking. I see the garage, yeah.
Oh, no, they're getting a new septic, but we don't have a plan, do we? Oh,
It's over here.
Yeah, they're getting a new septic. I thought you said same.
It's a big lot.
No, not really.
Is that somebody's phone?
It's not mine.
Hard rough.
Usually make them answer it on speakerphone and allow me not to kill
Okay, that sounds fair. Now, is that vibrate or is that some kind of
It's
a?
vibrated.
It was.
Took care of part of it.
Did you guys see this one? That's house number 3.
Yeah, this is the one we
It was the
saw
original
first.
one, yeah. I guess so, but it looks like the thing got a little bit longer to here. When did they add on the right-hand, in this picture,
That little bit
the
out.
right-hand side of the door?
Yeah, 1989, 90 in that area.
That was after the 30%.
So it was in
right?
So that counts
1990.
towards it. They've used some of the 30%, but they still get to use that and a foundation underneath it.
Got you, got you.
So they're not expanding a full 30% because they already
They've already used some.
picked away at it.
Correct,
The house will be, when it's done, the full 30 you can have.
correct.
Okay, they're going
Almost looks like.
toward the lake with the septic, it looks like.
No, should be behind.
Yeah, you can see, it looks like that. Looks like it's a fair amount. Right.
Not according to that one.
Well, this is the lake here.
Right. This is the house is moving back up the hill a little bit, right?
Well, 10 feet.
He's trying to.
Yeah, do we have where the existing septic is?
Maybe that's maybe the two lake thing is right. It just went out.
Yeah.
I know they count that through part of it.
This one here kind of shows the lake with the septic getting pumped up and the house is right there, so. It looks like a big lot in general, but it doesn't look, for the house being pushed back a little, it's still only another 30 feet to the septic, so that's that incline of the hill to where it starts getting up.
But you see according to that drawing.
See, it looks as if the lake is over here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that would be that way.
That's upside down.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the septic, the tank, and then the chambers are back behind the house up the hill.
Correct.
Under this.
Do you guys see the proposal? You would need the proposal.
Yeah.
Square footage of about 13,000.
Riveting television? Oh, you didn't pay attention.
So this little 12 by 16 jog on the lake side of the new building would be a little deck or something?
Covered roof porch,
Is it covered roof board?
which is, it shows in one of the pictures somewhere.
Right, so it'll be a smaller version of that kind
Yeah.
of thing.
So you see problems with this? The fact that it's going back 10 feet is as far as it can go.
Yeah, once you put the tank behind there, then you have the slope to get the field up there, then the garage is there, and you're into the road setback.
What do they propose to redo with the retaining wall?
Replace it.
Using similar materials? or-
Correct, the Jeunesse blocks.
With the locking type blocks or just cinder blocks like this or solid ones?
No, the landscape, hardscape blocks.
Oh, okay, okay.
I'm not sure if it's the big, huge ones they want or the smaller ones. It's usually access duplex, you know, if you can get down there, more likely to be the smaller ones.
And where this wall is, how far from the water?
That was on the, it's around 20, 25.
Oh, really? The high water never hits it?
It's 50
That wall
feet
there?
or absolutely.
Yeah, I think so.
Tell this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty close. Very close.
Yeah.
50 over there, that's coming down quite a bit.
Get prepared for the storm surge, huh?
You know, 2046, that's when it's gonna happen. It's the day of no return. I won't be alive, but you will. You're gonna reap what we've sown, sir, in advance. That's the way it goes. All right, where are we?
Anybody have any problems with it?
No. Who would we have them,
York County Water and Soil.
all right.
So they're already hooked up in there?
Yep. And drip line trenching, I usually put that in there too, just in case it's not part of the design.
Good idea.
All right, I move we accept Ken's proposal then.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Comments? York County Soil and Water is going to be on the rehabbing.
Best management
Best
practices,
management practice.
vegetation.
Are there any stipulations that you have to have on a wall as far as construction?
Yeah, it'd be with the manufacturer's installation instructions on retaining walls. Sometimes they need engineering behind them, those are pretty tall walls, but it's good soil. So,
And they need some kind of ties going back, which I bet maybe those babies didn't have.
I think that's just dry lay block.
Dry, not even,
Nothing, no, that's just
It's
dry.
plains growing.
Yeah.
It's 12,
And I mean,
12 blocks high.
30 years.
No kidding.
It's pretty tall.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the good soil there, that would have been all blown out.
yeah, no kidding.
I'm
Wow.
surprised it's not built now. I know.
So with a wall that high, you worry about railings or anything with kids?
The building code focuses on the house, and it really doesn't talk about landscape steps up to it or retaining walls nearby or anything like that. I usually look at it as if you have to go from the car to the house, the stairs should be safe, down to the water, we'll do handrails on it and stuff, but doesn't really require the guardrails.
But I mean, when you come down the back side, how much height do you have on that side of the wall?
That wall there, that's all of 8 feet anyways, I would say.
Okay, so a kid is not gonna, he's gonna have to do some climbing to get to the top of it to fall off. He's not gonna be walking down at the top side and then just fall off like I would fall off.
No, it's
Sure, this side.
It's just holding the hill back. I mean, he can
So
walk.
it is right up to the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Is there anything that we can put into that to suggest that do something to, you know, make it a little more difficult for kids to?
Most insurance companies are going to pick right up on it that they need to put a guardrail system in there of some kind, or at least a warning type thing, whether it's the full baluster system or just at least a guardrail so you can walk up to it pitch dark and not fall off, so.
If it's not in the building code, there's really nothing that we can do about it. Or, I mean, yeah, it's not something we can suggest because best possible location doesn't really deal with something, a feature like that. It deals with the structure itself, the home. It would, if anyone did anything, it would be a junior over here, and that would be if there was something in the building code. But he's right, it probably would be insurance, which is surprising that nobody's said anything yet. Because it's been getting worse over a
Yeah.
amount of time. That didn't happen just in a week.
No, these people have just recently purchased it.
Oh, new, all
So
right.
prior owners probably may not have a mortgage, may not have insurance on it.
I got you, I
New
got
house, the insurance company's gonna be all over
you.
it.
Yep.
How
All
about
right.
these two trees on top of the retaining wall? They're gonna have to take those out to replace them.
They didn't file any tree removal permits with it, they're trying to leave those.
They don't have to take out this tree over here either? Yeah, okay.
Anything else?
Maybe we could just put a little note if they do end up taking those down, because they're so close to the edge that they're required to replace them.
Yeah, usually it's a 4 to 1.
Yeah, okay.
We all set? All those in favor of Ken's recommendation, aye? All those opposed, nay? It's a done deal. One happy camper. And their name was
Houston.
Houston?
Yep.
It's you,
Yes.
oh, wow. Blimey. And who's next?
Did I get that last septic? Is there septic still out there? Just so I can see it crossing.
You okay?
Yeah, if it's not on the table, it's fine. Just so we're looking at that again for the next one.
Right.
What, you don't think we remember something after 5 minutes? Boys? What did you say? Nothing? Me? I wasn't talking. Oh, this is for you. Ooh, lovely. Where's this place at?
Little Pond.
I thought
We don't have a lot out there for Little Pond. 590 East Shore Drive.
Nickel.
Is there some lines there?
Yeah, doesn't say it.
They're taking off, what's this, a deck or a porch?
Yeah, they're not happy about it, but looking at the older assessment files, there was no deck on there, so the deck's been constructed without permit, so they don't get to count the deck. They lose the deck, they lose the encroachment on the water, so that gets removed. Again, when we look at the older cards, we can see there was no deck there, so eventually, whether
They
we,
have those.
when we
That's why.
don't find it during construction, it comes up sooner or later.
So that's coming off, they get no credit for it, and they're throwing on this section on the side?
Correct. Septic was installed in 2000, and it's about 16 feet behind the camp itself, and that includes the tank in that area, so there's really not much room to move back in.
Right, does that go pill at all, is that pumped?
No, it's pretty flat.
Okay.
That side is.
Right. 8 feet from the sideline though, huh?
Correct.
And with this new addition, they'll now be 10 feet?
10
From
feet
the other
on
side?
yes.
And that's the minimum, right?
Correct.
All right.
We'd require a certified plot plan anyways from a surveyor verifying the locations on it.
All right. Good job. Here, let me see the deck, the dock.
Same lines that we saw on the
Yeah, what's the size of the addition? I couldn't tell on that little sheet.
It's ripped down to replace the whole thing.
Oh, the house?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought they were just, oh, okay.
They're taking this whole building down. And
Correct.
putting up one that's 30% larger, yeah. Minus the deck.
So they're not really moving back then, are they?
No, the septic's right behind it.
Oh, okay, so they can't move back, but because they're losing that porch,
It
that's
looks
how,
like they're moving back.
that's how the site's getting back.
And the deck's going to the side.
Yeah, all right, got you.
And what's the distance from the water right now? 42, so they can still put a deck on even though it's within
No,
100?
No, they're going from 42 to 50 with the new deck. The deck's gone on the side of the house, now it'll be on the front of it.
I guess in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, good that they're moving the house back, but now
Yeah.
you're still adding something that's still encroaching on the 100, inside the 100 feet.
It's within the 100-foot zone, yeah.
they're not moving the house back. The house is
No,
pretty
but
much,
the distance from the water is still, is going to
because they're
increase.
losing the deck that was on the front,
Yeah.
which now they have to build on the side because that deck shouldn't have been there.
Yeah,
And it'll go towards the 30%.
Right.
They don't get the credit for it, and then the balance comes off.
Now, are these new owners too, or are they just?
No, they've owned it for quite a few years.
Aha.
I think the deck was on it when they bought it, maybe.
Let's see. So relatively flat, so there won't be big issues with stormwater. I mean, out of the ordinary anyway.
Yeah, I'd still let York County.
York County?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Drip trenches?
Yep.
Sounds like a
see
plan.
this one, Tom?
No, I saw that.
Looks like I'm sure they could do it.
These are pretty nice little heaters.
Yeah,
They're really cranking it.
they do. They are, and they use a third of their propane.
Really?
Yeah,
These are very nice.
Is that on that?
Or are they just newer?
I think they run nice. And the other ones are just so inefficient.
Well, they were old school anyway.
Yeah.
They weren't even a monitor type, you know, where it sucks outside and shoots outside.
Yeah.
We just wouldn't even get rid of it.
Right.
All right, did you see this one?
Yeah.
The original one? You all set with it?
Yeah. Well, what are we thinking? Ben?
Cool. Recommend you go with Alan's recommendation.
I guess well, I'll second it and then I'll make a comment.
Fine, that's where they go. What?
I guess I'm still concerned about the fact that we're not literally gaining anything inside of the 100-foot mark. We're not pushing anything back.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a difference, but we're not pushing it back. Yet we're still allowing something to be built on the side that's still inside of that 100 feet.
But it's not closer. You can build on it, if you're within 100 feet, you can add on to the side, you cannot go closer to the water. All right? But that's why they allow you to go to the side if you have room. Now granted, this isn't the widest lot in the world. But that's where they can go. Or they could have tried to go back a little bit, but they've got the tank, the septic right back there, and that's more trouble than it's worth. Because it's relatively, you said
2,000.
Yeah, so,
And even though the other side is already encroaching on the sideline mark, we still are okay with giving the opposite side.
well, oh, well. Well, now that's an interesting point. Because just because they can get 30% doesn't mean that we have to allow 30%. What would happen if we wanted them to come in to the 10 feet on both sides? They'd have to shrink that room by 2 feet. I mean, is that something we can do? We want to try and make these,
I thought there was a deck on the side.
Yeah, there's a deck.
well, pitch time should be even easier.
But it's a bit,
But-
1 year,
and
and then
if-
it's closed in the next year, or 2 years, or 5 years down the road.
If the building was staying there, I'd say forget it, but if they're tearing it down and starting over, why can't they kick it to the minimum on the side? I mean, we wanna try to make this less non-conforming, right? Does that make sense or no? Is there some,
I looked at it and thought the same thing, to slide it over. If you look at the whole neighborhood, everyone's really close there too. And as you say, over time, if we keep moving them back, eventually they're in the best location as possible. How big that was.
I mean, that is something we can look at. We do try to minimize the non-conformance, right?
Correct.
All the way around, towards the water, towards the property lines. Because we don't try to move them back so that they encroach on the setback from the roads. And if it was gonna be in the same spot and they're just building the deck on the side, I'd say fine. But if they're tearing it down and starting over, shucks. I say, what's 2 feet on our deck? How big is it?
I was gonna say, depends on how big the deck is.
2 foot less.
It's gonna be fairly small. But balconies are nice.
Yeah, but that still counts as,
With the 30% they're allowed, and his calculations are a little higher than what I've got right off the bat, but they're close. The deck would be 7.6 feet wide by 24 deep.
That's the current one.
No, that would be the one on the side. If they went the depth of the house 24 feet, they could only go 7.6 over to the right.
No, I guess the 7.6, what I mean is that bringing it in 2 feet on the opposite side?
yeah, is that shrinking it, which is what we'd end up having to do.
If we're trying to make it,
That would be proposed, that would be their maximum proposed right now.
So if we shrunk it 2 feet, it would be 5.5 feet.
Exactly.
What do they got for,
or they make the room inside a little bit narrower.
what's underneath it?
Right now, stones and rocks.
Unless it's,
Piers or something?
Yeah, of some kind.
So it's not like any kind of,
I don't know.
He's got it as proposed as being 8 feet wide, so he wouldn't be able to go the 24-foot depth, but
so you're gonna excavate,
yeah, rip the whole place down, dig it out, put a foundation underneath, and build brand new.
okay, so you could, I mean, if he's gonna be digging it out, we can get him to the spot where we,
That's why that's why it came up, and that's why we're thinking about it. Like I said before, if it was gonna stay in the same spot and just add on, that's a different kettle
Just
of
a
fish.
foundation under the old.
But it's starting from scratch.
Yeah.
Should do it right.
So
Well-
you'd reduce the 7.6 deck down to 5.6.
Well, meet the side setbacks, 10 foot, whatever he does, that's up to him. He can leave his deck 7.6 and shrink his inside room 2 feet.
yeah, how much room on the back, and is there any room on the back?
To move back?
Yeah.
No, it's right on top of the septics.
I mean, he can eliminate the deck and bring his house all the way over to that 5.5 feet, right?
The volume's gonna be too tight for him to enclose it.
What if he wants to leave the deck on the front?
He can't.
He can't.
Yeah, you might have missed that. That was done without a permit prior to him owning it.
Under the proposal, they're not moving the camp itself, right? They're gonna utilize.
Correct, they're just removing the old 8-foot deck off.
Well, no, they're
There's no foundation now, though,
yeah.
right?
They just want to
Piers
keep
right
it in
now.
the same spot,
In the
but
same
they're
spot.
starting from scratch.
Okay.
Can he leave that deck if he doesn't do anything to the camp?
The front one?
Yeah.
Now that we're made aware of it, I know there's a violation out there. If I had the time, I'd chase it down. There's a violation, they'd have to remove it.
You know, it's been a long time since the planning board has had to go to the Board of Appeals. You know, we can always deny this or say something different. If the guys like us, you can take us to the Board of Appeals,
Is that how that works?
isn't it? Or
I
no?
think you have to
Or do it with it?
straight to court.
Oh, so it's just you and the selectmen that go to Board of Appeals?
Correct. Or just me, I think it's like,
Well, it's been even longer since we've been taken to court. We've got an opportunity here to really quash some dreams tonight.
I was sued a couple of times when I was on the town council.
Was it fun? I'm gonna sit right now, as a matter of fact. Anyway, so, well, you know, you brought it up.
they're 50-foot lots, so I mean, they're really not that wide to begin with, but. I mean,
What's he's got 8 feet on the one side proposed, and what's he got on the other side?
10.
Just 10.
Oh, yeah.
What about the other places in the area?
They're all closer to the lake, close to the property lines. They're all 50 by 100-foot lots roughly.
So, I mean,
It's not unique to the neighborhood.
so there's other places there that you don't meet the 10-foot setback.
Correct.
Well,
It's like changing close to this street.
Do the neighbors have a
but
say
as a rule,
No.
we don't
in any of this?
let people, we don't let people.
I understand. I just,
I don't know that we've had one in the past that has been
What is the normal
too
sideline
close to the property line.
setback?
Less
Requirement is 10 feet.
And that we've had a chance to move it
Along any place in
You know, like we
the...
trees in the way or.
That would be a bare minimum, would be 10 for non-conforming, otherwise it's
For a
25 feet.
non-conforming lot.
But if he's 1 foot from the property line, he wants to do an addition all the way up that back side, he just stays that 1 foot, he's not encroaching anymore. So, I mean, that would be an option for them, is to just do something on the backside and additionalize or something.
Kenny, my only concern would be that this is maybe like changing course in midstream a little bit. Because can you recall whether there have been instances where we have passed on something like this, where the side lot lines have been encroached upon, and we let it go because they moved it back and made it or something, whatever?
Yeah, I think we've had some that were less than the 10 feet due to reasons.
I'm just wondering whether it may be best to support this with some language if we felt strongly about it, to maybe do it with an ordinance change, or, and I'm thinking of, in fairness to this applicant and the people that went before him, and the ones that are going to succeed him, and what custom has been, that's all I'm thinking.
I guess my concern is, I'm hearing you say before that in the past we've done it when we've gained something, there's been an additional setback from the water or whatever. In this case, I don't see what we gained.
You're gonna have to take that from you off anyway.
Yeah, but that's not us gaining, we shouldn't have had the first place.
Right, that's what,
The main thing would be the implementation of the best management practices as far as water quality would be the only real gain.
Yeah, because his ridge is parallel to the lake there, right?
Correct.
So it dumps water onto the deck that pushes it toward the lake, yeah. We do gain a little bit, sort of.
But then again, still technically that.
Right,
shouldn't have
right, I know
happened.
what you're saying, yeah.
But we do have an opportunity to recommend drip line trenches, et cetera.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's no problem implementing any of those sort of techniques within the 10 feet of the property line?
Yeah. No. Revegetation, whatever they can do over there. It looks like everything's rolling to the opposite side though, so you wouldn't favor that side for rain gardens, detention ponds or anything like that. It's all rolling to the other side. It's all barren pine area where there's no vegetation and it's all just exposed soil kind of, so.
Yeah, we need to get them to
revegetation plan for the whole
revegetate
place.
that would be good.
Yeah.
Now, would this be considered a relocation?
Correct.
Well, now it says here, a non-conforming structure shall be relocated within the boundaries of the parcel in which the structure is located, provided that the site, if it's page 6, provided that the site of relocation conforms to all setback requirements to the greatest practical extent as determined by the planning board. Now, maybe the 8 feet is the greatest practical extent, and maybe it's not. I put that out there for your consideration. So we do have the opportunity, we do have we can, if we feel we should, make it meet all the side setbacks.
I mean, personally, I would vote to deny this as is, and then wait for a second motion to accept it, making sure that the sidelines
Side setbacks are met.
And to me, it's not a major difference. Granted, there is a difference between a 7.5 foot deck and a 5.5 foot deck. You know, a 5.5 foot deck is pretty lousy, but I think they can still do something perhaps inside and shrink a foot to make it 6.5 or a 1.5 to make it 7. I mean, I have a deck that's 7 that's closed into the screen porch and it's fine.
The current camp is 24 by 24. It's average detached small garage, so it's not a big camp to begin with, but...
So you're saying the rooms are fairly small?
Exactly, 30% of not much is not much. and like you said, 7.5 deck is almost usable. You can get out there a little bit, walk by the chairs. 5.5 is really just going to be a walkway. They didn't build a deck on the front. That was the prior owner, so they bought the violation. They've been living it, enjoying it, paying taxes on that deck for, I think, 80 or 92. And
Oh, so it has been part of the assessment?
Oh, yeah.
At some point.
Assessors
Okay.
go through and picking it up all the time.
Yeah, all right.
Don't really notify us that there are things out there.
All right then, any more discussion on this? We've got a motion that says to grant the best possible location, or grant Ken's recommendation, wait 1 second. Grant Ken's recommendation. You know, we can vote on that and see what happens from that.
It's not Ken's recommendation, it's proposed.
Well, yes, but their proposal, and he's agreeing with it, correct?
I would think it's
Yes,
reasonable.
he thinks, yes. Tom?
Just a question of interpretation of the ordinance. In that same citation you had, page 6, 14114. In no case shall a structure be located in a manner that causes the structure to be more non-conforming. Are we doing that?
No, that would be as if we went with a 7-foot side setback.
He's already 8, we're not, he's not going any closer.
Yeah, or if we allowed the deck to stay and move the house up to where the deck was.
Right.
How about, this might be digging too deep, but how about the neighbor's house? How would it affect them? Did you have a visual on what
I'd have,
how much they use their side yards adjacent this area?
yeah, there's some vegetation in between through there, and it's not like it's a vacant lot and it's a Board of Appeals where you're encroaching into that setback that wasn't used. They've been used for that house there for 30, 40 years now.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? All right, we're going to vote on the motion to accept Ken's recommendation. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay.
Nay.
All right, 3-1, it's voted down. Is there another motion? You guys are just being contrary then?
Yeah.
You don't have a plan?
No, I'm thinking that they need perhaps to come back to us with another plan.
Change the 8 to 10 would be the only other plan.
Right.
I mean, do we make that recommendation at this point, or do we wait for them to come forward to us?
We gotta put it as a
with-
condition.
In the past, if we've moved somebody back, we've just said, our motion has said, you know, we'll grant this, but we want them to be back X. Sometimes we don't always go with their proposal. Sometimes we can move a camp back. And then we say, this is where it's gonna be.
Yeah.
So we can say, it must meet the 10-foot side setbacks. You know, no closer to the water, that porch is, or that deck's coming down this, on the lakeside, and it must meet the side setbacks.
It's currently an 8-foot setback.
Right.
They'd be
On one
maintaining
side.
that, they'd be maintaining that, yeah.
They keep that. And their proposal is to leave the 8-foot. And they're gonna have 10-foot on the other side.
Correct.
So they're actually not gonna become more non-conforming.
Right.
No, but we have the opportunity to have it be less non-conforming, which is what we strive to do. And there's always four sides to a piece of property usually, and we can jockey things around. And here, if they were just going to raise it up and put a foundation underneath it, I wouldn't worry about it. But because they're starting from scratch, they can kick it over and make it conforming on both sides. The only non-conforming is towards the lake.
Or they just can't do that.
Right.
I mean, there's options.
We can just say that,
What's the difference between a deck and if they wanted to put a patio or something?
Same thing.
right,
30% rule, setbacks, all of it applies.
and whether it's a patio or a deck, it counts for, distance, from water, from the sideline, whatever.
I move we accept Paul Smith's recommendation.
Which was, go with the plan, but make the sides,
Everything fit within the sideline variances.
sideline setbacks. Which in shoreland is, you can't go to 10 feet legally. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All right then. All those in favor of the new motion, which is pretty much, was that for you? The same as proposed, except they meet the side setbacks, 10 foot on either side. York County Soil and Water will work with them as far as revegetation and whatnot, and drip trenches. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
All those opposed, nay? That's our vote. Let's see what happens.
Who's that name?
Daigle, Rachel Daigle, I believe.
Sure.
All right, Kenny, what do you got now?
Make sure he doesn't steal that.
I could change CEO and ship pretty easily, actually.
Chippy O. This one, I haven't had a chance to do a site walk. I'm familiar with the site somewhat. Oh, yeah.
Definitely doesn't look too good in that shot. It's a little purple.
This has never looked better.
Yeah, I'll trade with you, Tom. It's like a rainbow. It's beautiful.
That's right.
Oh, it's a golden day. Hey,
You frame this one.
Where are these guys?
rip it down. Okay, so
This is the Mark's place.
Right, yeah.
Oh, same picture.
this side of the lake is really poor soils out there.
This is Wilson, right?
Correct.
When you're saying poor soils, what are you indicating?
Silty, organic matter,
Brutal hotbed.
Poor drainage, what is
poor drainage.
Yeah, it's not like
Usually it's really tough to find a good septic location. He's picking up some rocky sand, gloomy.
yeah.
A lot of the area was filled.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a lot of that, there's a peat area, especially in the Hawk Road side. I get a lot of trouble getting septics to work out there.
Too thick. Ash Grove.
No, this is the septic.
What's it gonna involve?
Rip it down, replace it, relocate it back, as that's shown, and put the new septic system in.
And how about how far from the water is it now?
The cover code one.
I think it's 15,
Do we have it in this one?
and it's gonna be, the proposed is 25. And it doesn't meet the site, in fact, they are kicking it in, so it meets the side setback better.
Both sides, yeah.
Yeah.
You can see where it's encroaching.
What's the current septic?
Cesspool.
Yeah,
So it's a
probably.
little bit of a-
Gravel pit.
55 gallon drum.
Wilson Lake.
Well, that's ash.
I didn't say that.
That'll get edited out in post. And it meets, it's taking its full 30%?
Correct, in the new construction would. Approximately 772 square feet, so it'd be a little over 1,000, 1,004.2.
Now, the driveway, is that what this says? The green thing on the bottom, that's the driveway? Is that something new, or is that just, you just threw it in there?
I think it's all kind of, it's been unused for several years, so it's kind of all grown up, and they're just reestablishing
Oh,
it.
all right.
Once they submit the 20%, then we'll be able to, lot coverage form, we'll be able to narrow the size down and that, you know.
And who would you have them work with? AWA, or
On Wilson, yeah.
relatively,
Or York County, either one.
relatively flat?
That one is, yeah.
Just not the greatest, not the most, what do you call it?
Organic soil type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, drain, like that.
There's an odd feature on this. I'd be curious about the geology of it. There's like a levee in front of this camp.
Exactly, a lot of them had it, and then you can see where people had filled in throughout the years to at least get it up above, or, but it's 6-8 feet to go up and over the hump to get to the lake.
3 or 4 feet, but anyway.
Is it all the way around, Wilson?
In that area it is, not the whole area, but that general area.
Wilson's level doesn't fluctuate, does it? There's not a,
There's a outlet.
yeah, but they don't dam that though, do
I
they?
think there's a board on it, a breakaway.
Oh,
I think once they lower one a little bit, too, doesn't, Wilson goes down a little.
Oh, yeah.
Sucks it out.
yeah,
A little
yeah,
bit, I
yeah.
think
It
it
might-
does.
They're not gonna mess with that hump in front of it then?
No.
All right, well, that's good.
And a lot of times, if during construction, if it comes out that there's a foot or two to move back once the camp's relocated and the septic's laid out and stuff, there's room to move it back. We still make them, even though the board may have said 35 feet, if it is 36, 37, we still scoot it back as best as
We usually
possible.
say at least, I think.
Exactly.
You know, so that, yeah, if something does come up and it can go a little bit further back. Or we say no point, it can't be any closer than X.
Yeah.
That must be this screen porch, I guess.
Did the addition, building permit was 71.
Is the addition like a screen porch looking
Cost me
thing?
$1 for the permit. Yeah, 6 by 16.
We still had that record?
Yeah. And I can't find some stuff from last week.
I know. What gives?
There's the flood, the 2015 flood.
Oh, no, really? Seriously?
That's what we're using.
Did you lose some papers?
Most of the documentation was up there, file cabinets were up high enough, so it just,
It was just the quick move that things.
Yeah, right, gotcha. Got misplaced.
Things got screwed into the box.
absorbed.
I guess I can move that we accept this recommendation. Just start from there. Accept Ken's recommendation.
Is there a second?
Second.
I can't go on this.
Right.
Because of my relationship.
Any further discussion? Drip trenches, either AWA or York County Soil and Water will be involved. And like Ken said,
Revegetate the front where it's, the house is, that's
Yeah.
automatic again, right?
Which the DEP will even consider grasses as a vegetation in that area too, but we go with actual vegetation that will reestablish some points.
There are some trees up here.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big tree.
Do they have to do anything special with this septic because they're real close to the level of the lake or no?
Not in general. This is going to be a little bit better than the Hawk Road soils. Hawk Road, a lot of times we'll make them, if it's a 750 gallon tank, we'll go 1,000 and pour some concrete in the bottom of it. That way there, when you pump your tank, it doesn't float up from the water. But in this area, I think they're going to be all set. It'd be a monolithic tank, one-piece tank, so you don't have water seeping in and sewage seeping out into the groundwater.
is it chambers, is it leach field, what's the leach field consist of?
Chambers.
Looks like 6 chambers.
Are they humped up any, or are they all
Yeah.
below?
No, it's an elevated system.
Okay, all right. Any bond lots? It's fresh. Just trying to, bring the level up a little. Any comments, changes, corrections, or blah, 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 whatever? Ready to vote? Kevin?
Yeah, all right.
All right then, all's in favor of Ken's recommendation for yet to Ren Lane, Ren Road, whatever, Ren something, Ren?
I see
Aye.
septic.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay.
Aye again.
Did you two guys vote? I didn't hear you. Yay, nay, yay, nay, yay? Fine, passes.
And an abstention, right?
Yes. Yeah, I guess you call it abstention, yes. All business, stormwater ordinance subcommittee updates.
I know,
in 2 minutes or less.
You can.
Any updates?
We're still speaking to one another.
Well, that's something, that's. And I can verify from a third party that I heard the same thing. So, just saying.
We had an interesting, we're still kind of honing in on what we're doing. We're making progress. It's painful, but we're making progress. And we are going to stick to the applicability as originally designated, and there's no business about third order streams in this, first order streams. Linda Shire and Bill Maloney attended our last meeting along with Jeannie Akil from Wilson Lake Association. And we wanted to just share some materials with them as to where we are and what we're working from and get some more feedback from them. But we had a good discussion for about half an hour. Myself in particular kind of got refocused on what we should try to tackle in this thing. I was getting too optimistic about what I was hoping to send to town meeting this time around. But it was a good reality check for Tom.
Baby steps, is that what we're talking about then?
A good reality check.
All right. Have you guys fired off the Slater Force Bell yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
We were hoping, I was hoping to get word back.
But nothing yet?
No.
All right. All right, well, it seems to be asking for what we're looking for, what you guys were looking for, so it looks good.
We have, our next meeting is on the 29th, and we're hoping really to get all of our loose ends in terms of the language, anyway, tied down. And then we were working on trying to flesh out some citations of documents so that it would be easier for the applicant to track down information that they need for the application. So, that's where we're at. Paul has said it would be great in terms of his workload with the finance committee if we could wrap this up by school committee meeting times, which is December, January. So
All right, fine.
that's our goal.
Good.
Which keeps it pretty much on track in terms of,
It doesn't let you mess around. You know when your end date is.
The overall revamp that we've done with this is Paul took Jen Jesperson's language, the Forest Bell document, and basically with some renumbering, he inserted it into this, so it accomplished the whole, it solved the whole issue of the standalone ordinance that we rejected it for initially. And now, with his help, we're trying to make things more clear than maybe they were before.
Terrific. Sounds great. All right then. Anything else from anybody?
I found this article.
Is that what this is?
Yeah.
What's the gist of it?
Basically talking about the shoreline zoning from the state's point of view, and it's originally started in 1971, but also telling you that there's a lot of confusion, inconsistencies even in that ordinance.
You're
And
kidding.
We're trying to clear that up, so we're not the only ones who are in the same kind of a situation. They're talking about a legislative bill that's going to come before, or actually I guess has been passed in the legislature, stating that as of October, they're making some changes as to increases in size of shoreline properties and how you're able to do that and things like that. But I thought it was interesting. The other thing I thought was interesting is the section that's kind of bulleted on the left side of the front page, just above the picture. And it's kind of like maybe a goal at the front of what we do, and it's what they use. And it's just kind of really leading people into what our shoreline ordinance is going to be, and the reason why we're doing it, just if nothing else.
It's nice to articulate it that way.
Yeah. If we had a cover page or an introduction page or whatever, that would be along those lines.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
what they were looking here, and the law did pass, it's an option for the 30% we'd have to adopt locally, which was a flat rate of 1,500 square feet on your lot on ground cover. So if you had 1,000 square feet of house, 200 square feet of shed, 300 square feet of garage, you're all done. Which in tonight's case would have allowed,
Oh, so,
Cunningham could have gone bigger, I think.
That's a proposal, or is that a?
That is
it's a
passed.
done deal, but we
We have
don't
to
have
adopt
to
it.
accept it.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
don't have to adopt it, we may if we want to.
Yeah, Cunningham's maxed out at 1,000 square feet, and we've been looking at it for the last 6 months or so. Most people it would hurt more, in this case it would have helped them out.
If they had to stick to the 1,500 versus
Yeah.
30%.
Yeah. Houston would have helped, but their garage on the top of the hill would have made the house smaller, and Dago.
And it's just structures, it's not like driveways?
Correct, just structures.
All right.
The driveway's always that 20% lot coverage rule.
Yeah.
Daigle's at 800, so it may have helped them too.
Just from your knowledge of the properties on the lakes, I mean, we have a huge number of undersized lots of record, and they're already, you know, it's like, I always kind of like to think of the notion of carrying capacity of the lake in terms of what the average lot dumps into the lake. I'm just wondering whether that would help us or hurt us in terms of maintain Lake Waterfall.
We're fortunate enough that we had the assessment cards from 1989, which the law went in right into effect. So we got a picture of it, we've got a sketch of the house, so we know what it looked like the year the law went into effect, plus or minus a little bit.
30% law.
Correct. A lot of communities, they don't have very much assessing cards, even for current stuff, so this works great for a community like that. We've got good data, so without the data, I would say, yeah, go to the 1,500, but I think leaving it as is probably my recommendation.
That's what I would think too. And would it maybe be easier to figure out, or is it 6 of one, half a dozen of another?
The 30% involves volume, which is where it gets complicated with hip roofs and dormers and dog houses, and that can get really complicated for a lot of people to carry.
Oh, and this is just square footage.
On the ground cover. No second floor, no this, no that.
So if you adopted this, then you could have, a place could increase by more than 30% in volume, but as long as they stay under the 1,500 lot coverage.
Correct. I'd have to relook at the law. It talks about if you're within less than 50 to the lake, you can only go up 20 feet. If you're 75, you can go up to 25. And if you're back behind the 75, then you go up to 30, 35, something like that.
The other thing this article said, though, is that they measure the height from the back.
From the backside?
Yeah.
They stole that from our ordinance about 5-6 years ago. We started measuring from the back for that 3 feet of elevation, and we put it in the ordinance, and that's where they grabbed that up. We talked about that for years, and then we just got it in the ordinance, so they actually adopted a lot of that from ours.
Well, I don't know, it's up to, well, we'll see what happens. I mean, it doesn't have to be presented to the town, does it?
No, it's an option if the town wants to look into it, or I'd let the bill sit and see how it works for a year or so, and if it's, you know.
One nice provision of it that would be rational maybe to consider is just a 30%, calculate the expansion with just a 30% expansion of the footprint area.
Yeah, and I think that's how the law was at first, and they brought the volume in 93, 94, because everyone was going with these big, huge cathedrals, and you know, they didn't limit the big, huge mansions that were still going over in the little areas, so that's when they brought the volume in. The volume is the harder part to calculate.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention to folks that may or may not be interested, Gavin and I were just doing a little homework the other day on first order streams for 2016 consideration permit. We found there are 60 first order streams in town involving 184 lots, and there are 3,025 lots in town. And there are 11 of those 60 go directly into Great Ponds. And we'll leave that map up for a while if you want.
There's this one over here,
Yeah.
the one with the bright orange, magenta and
Yeah.
whatnot on the bottom of it.
We just ran out of yellow, that's why this